conference will now be recorded.
Nope. Just put it back in there. Could you just put it back in there? Oh, here. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, June the 7th, Marion County Commission meeting, 12:30. Looking for public comments. We have no public in the building that I can see in the room or anything. Looking online here, see if we have any comments from anybody.
None so far.
None so far. If there is, post them and we'll take them towards the end of the meeting. Moving on to agenda approval. Does anybody have any agenda additions or anything?
You might notice your 210 is crossed off. Josh called and said he is not going to be able to make it.
Okay. No agenda approval, nothing to add, so administrative business, go right ahead, Tina. Oh, wait a minute,
Sorry.
you're just in the nick of time. Okay.
At the end, probably an executive for personnel.
Okay. How about that 210 one? We just put that as personnel then. Just
That'd be
cross.
fine.
Okay.
Do we have any other executives?
Executive personnel.
We don't have any other executives. Wouldn't it be better to keep it at the end, Tina?
Just
That
fine.
commission discussion and personnel hiring is potentially an executive
Okay,
session.
okay.
Could probably be done in there then.
Okay.
I was trying to keep it bouncing in and out.
Yeah.
On the online.
If we're gonna go into that, we may put public comments out, commission comments ahead of that, then go into those two, be done with. Okay, so Tina, now go ahead with administrative business.
Okay. I have the minutes of June 1st.
Is everybody read them?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 1st.
They have a motion to approve, so I do hear a second.
I'll second.
I heard Dave Crowfoot this time.
Yeah.
So, motion by Jonas, second by Dave Crowfoot. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
Okay, I'll have to bring that folder in here and have you sign it in a little bit.
Well,
Apparently
we
I
would-
didn't bring
we'd
it.
appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Moving ahead.
Okay, let's see what else I can do. You had asked for information about the emergency management red pickup truck.
Yeah.
That is a 2012 Chevy Silverado.
And that's all we need? I mean, just to make a motion to, we did that or we didn't?
You haven't made a motion to
Okay.
transfer it.
I'd make that motion to transfer that 2012 Silverado to the Road and Bridge Department. Do I hear a second? Kent? Kent, second. All those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
Okay. I just wanted to give you an update on the mid-continent restoration for the work on the north and west stairways. They are not able to schedule that work until mid-September to start because they're having to work on some school work right now during the summer. So you had, I think when you made the motion, approved it, Jonah, for as long as they could start within 60 days. So I just wanted to check back with you and make sure that the board is okay with them starting in mid-September.
I'd go ahead and make a motion to amend to allow it to start in September.
Okay,
In addition to carrying out, thinking about the other projects until September also. The other items that we.
oh, the other items. Any discussion on the motion? Anybody have any other further discussion about waiting until September or anything? Any other problems?
You think they would be able to get that done before the snow flies? I mean, just those two items. I mean, you're talking about, the other items that were on there. I don't know if that's anything can be done in the winter or not. That's what they do.
Depends on what kind of winter we have.
Well, it's true.
Not to build a tent. Lay block jobs like that.
They're probably gonna have to shut each one of them down when they do it,
Independently.
you know, independently. So it's gonna, they can't do both at once. So,
We wouldn't have any egress.
yeah.
Be fun to look at the other two around,
You saying, look at the other contract?
the other projects.
They were substantially more expensive.
No, I think what the motion is to amend the previous approval to allow the work to be scheduled beginning in September, and then also approve that you had tabled it, reviewing the other things until, for 60 days, and I think he's just asking to table that review of those other projects until the same time as this.
Okay.
Is that?
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a second by Dave Crowfoot, motion by Jonas, second by Dave. That is to amend their original motion of starting in 60 days to go ahead and allow it to end the mid of September, the way they've got it here, begin work in mid-September, with just the two main items, and
Items 1 and 2.
items 1 and 2. So, all those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
Okay. I do have a COVID update for you.
Okay.
As of 7:45 this morning, Marion County has 702 confirmed PCR cases, 392 probable, 1 active case, 0 hospitalizations, and no change in the deaths from previous reporting. Positivity rate for through May 29th is 9.2%. No changes in the variants of concern. And then the vaccinations administered last week: Moderna 3' and 12 booster, Johnson & Johnson 9 doses, Pfizer 6' and 6 booster. This week's vaccine clinic will be held at the Health Department on Tuesday, June 8th. Moderna prime and booster doses will be administered. Appointments for Moderna can be scheduled online every Tuesday in June. Appointments for Johnson & Johnson and Moderna can also be made by calling the Health Department. Pfizer boosters will be given on June 9th and 11th to 12 to 17-year-olds. And then she just has a note here: if the governor does not extend the declaration, disaster declaration that is currently in place through June 15th, the weekly commission updates, press release, and dashboard will discontinue at that time. And then updates and press releases will be given as needed.
Okay. Cool. Any questions about that, board? Okay, ready to move forward with that.
Okay, I have several salary sheets.
Appraisers Department, Lewis Plank from 1080 to 1080, that's a change of position from part-time custodian to part-time data collector. Six-month raise for Gwenna Rutherford, for paramedic, 1530 to 1555. Sheriff's Department, change for Doug Dick from 1242 to 1242.
That one is just a clerical correction to
Okay.
pay him out of the sheriff's department instead of the jail. So
Oh,
that's
okay,
just
change
a
for part-time
location.
corrections officer, part-time reserve officer.
Yes.
Okay.
Ted's just saying he's paying attention.
Road and Bridge Blacktop, let's get that right, Randy, Road and Bridge Blacktop. Will Leven, that's a new part-time seasonal road and bridge for $10 an hour. And another Brandon Mercer, part-time seasonal help for $10 an hour.
While you're waiting for that, I've got the minutes for you to
Okay.
sign, Randy.
I saw you hustling out there. On the first one, I start. This is Sunday. No, moving on.
All right, I do have some early checks.
That's what you got this book for, right?
Yes. The total amount is $30,861.62.
Motion to approve early checks in the amount of $30,861.62.
Have a motion by Jonah, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Dave Crowfoot to approve early checks for a total amount of $30,861.62.
62.
62, okay. Yeah, I'm trying to read it from up there. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. There it was. Missed it.
Sorry, it's behind the June tab.
No, it stuck to the back of that other one.
Okay, this was not in your packet, but we do have the biannual drinking establishment license for the Marion Country Club for approval. And I don't know if there's anyone, the commission that serves on that board. If so, they would probably need to abstain from approving this, but,
Okay.
so we just need a motion and a vote to approve the biannual drinking establishment license.
What about the bake shop out there? Did we do something for them, or is that the first of the year we do that? Oh,
I don't know the time frame of it, but it's not right now.
Okay.
It's their current, I think theirs is in April, and it's an
April's
annual.
most gonna
Oh, okay, all righty.
And yes, it was done, so.
Okay. I would make a motion to pass the Marion Country Club license incorporated for drinking establishment for 2021, goes through for 2 years to 23?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it goes through for 2 years, from 21 to 23.
Second.
Second by Jonah. All those in favor of that, say aye.
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 So, big chunk last year.
And that's a little bit different. That's a cereal malt beverage license, and so there's a little bit different notification that has to occur with that.
It is signed, just a tip certificate.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, in your packet, there was task order number 4 from Engineering Solutions and Designs. This is in regard to the monitoring at the landfill, and Sharon is not here today, but she asked me to get approval on this task order number 4.
I'll approve the task order number 4 in the amount of $2,560.
I have a motion, Jonah, to approve that $2,560. Is that a task order?
I have a question.
Okay.
Didn't we, that used to be a quarterly test, it's now a semi-annual? We know that.
Yeah, last time she was in here, she said it got moved to twice a year and we didn't have to do 2 of the wells. We dropped it to 3.
I know
Yeah.
that changed it. I don't know the
Yeah, I just-
specifics of the
yeah,
changes.
It doesn't really say on there, you
No,
know,
don't, does it?
anything different.
Okay. Do you need some clarification on it, Ken?
Well, as long as we're just paying for 2 tests, is this annual? Probably is annual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I have not gone back and reviewed all of that. We do have an agreement with him.
well, if Sharon's recommending that we do that, well,
Okay.
then we should.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I mean, I can provide more information here in the meeting if you need me to look it up.
Cost of samples, it says 3 groundwater wells.
Used to be 5.
Used to be 5? Okay, I think
Take a little
so.
more.
Okay. So I have a motion, did I get a second?
I'll second
Dave Crowfoot, second, to approve that for $2,560 to Jack Chappelle. I don't know if that's where it goes or not, that's
The company's Engineering Solutions and Design.
Engineering Solutions,
Mhm.
yeah, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Is there any, Dave Mueller and Dave Crowfoot, you guys probably have you met Jack Chappelle? Okay. Have you, Kent?
Yep.
Okay. Trying to push pen today. Can't get it right, same thing. Sixth or seventh?
Today's the 7th.
Seventh. 6 months.
Okay, then the final thing that I have on under administrative business is the fireworks schedule for the current year.
Okay. I just filled some out here, roughly starting up top at 9 a.m. Start time for selling and discharging, and then 10 p.m. both selling and that on Sunday. Mondays, they've got 8 a.m. until 10 p.m., clear down to Thursday night, be the 1st. Then on the Friday the 2nd, 8 a.m. till midnight. Saturday night, 8 a.m. till midnight. Now Sunday's something that I asked for. I first went to midnight, 9 a.m. till midnight, but the 5th is got a Monday after that. we have shut down before, earlier on the Sunday nights, before Monday on the 5th.
8 to 10?
Yeah, we have done that, yes, so that would be something that I would throw out to the board, that if any other suggestions and any other reasoning that we would, you know, I don't know what the 4th, down Peabody, if they have the show the 4th, which I hear they do have, you're not gonna get out of there till 10:30, 11. So,
You'll show till 9 o'clock.
yeah, it's 9 something, yeah, 9:30 usually on the 4th, so 9:45 even sometimes the time the big one starts, so I don't know about that Sunday night. I've got midnight, but if somebody wants to make it 11, why, that's fine with me too, I don't have no problem with it.
I'll make this motion. Pass it off. And then it can be read.
You changed it from what we got from Tina.
Yeah,
Well, this right here is just,
It's 3 years old.
it's just for you to use to fill in and determine what hours you wanna set.
but the discharge time, the selling time, I like to see the same times, it makes it easy to remember everything.
As
If
far as
you're gonna shut down, selling,
Yeah.
shut down just shooting them.
Yeah, I figured if they were able to buy them in 30 minutes, they'd have 30 minutes to
No,
get them offloaded.
I just make it the same time. And most around our towns, most of the time, it's pretty easy to start. So, just asking for any solutions, if anybody wants to change anything. Sunday nights, the 4th, would be the one that I would really question, where we want to shut her down at.
So the motion that what you
Yeah.
passed down, is that the same as what Randy said? Oh.
That's a little different, but Randy brought up some good points.
Sundays just started at 9 o'clock, that's the only difference on the paper, starting time. And selling. And discharging, starting time at 9. That's the only thing different that's on the paper.
9 o'clock.
Selling, discharging on both Sundays.
Oh, okay. 9 o'clock on both.
Yeah. The rest of them's 8.
And then everything discharging is the same time as the selling ending.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Have you always, as long as I've been here, I guess it started up at 8 or 9 on Sunday.
Yeah.
Years ago, it used to be noon.
I do have a question too. Are you going to allow sales and discharge on the Monday, the 5th?
Yeah, that's another one.
I think it's a good idea so that whoever is selling fireworks has a chance to clear their inventory.
It sometimes is good, sometimes nobody shows up, because if it's work day on Monday, if it's work day, then maybe a few people come by late that afternoon, but usually it's just a sort of a relaxation.
When's the county? They're taking Friday or Monday off for 4th of July.
I would take Monday.
Monday.
It's the Monday.
Monday.
So it'll still be a holiday
So it's
then.
still-
Yeah, there'll still be a holiday, yeah.
Yeah, keep Monday in it.
Okay.
So,
The firework
like Randy says, the selling, okay, my motion will be the selling schedule
One,
start
that's what I passed.
on the 27th and the 5th at 9 a.m. On Sunday, oh,
Yeah, Sunday the 4th.
Sunday, okay, the 27th and the 4th at 9. The ending times, starting on the 27th, 10 p.m., 28th, 11, 29th, 11, 30th, 11, 1st, 11, 2nd, 11. Oh, take that back. 2nd at midnight, 3rd at midnight, the 4th at midnight, and the 5th at 10.
Okay.
I would like to do July 2nd and 3rd at 11 o'clock instead of midnight.
11 o'clock on the 2nd.
And 3rd on Friday and Saturday. Some people wanna go to bed.
Okay.
Just an opinion,
Yeah,
and they're gonna shoot them till they run out of it anyway. This is in the county.
yeah. I don't know whether, I don't know when the church is at all, he's gonna sell or shoot theirs. Sometimes they do it ahead of the 4th.
Just sometimes it's, the night, you know, nobody really sets them off until it gets dark.
Yeah.
Where you live at. It starts 6 o'clock around my house.
In the morning?
No, in the afternoon.
I usually have one out in my street about 3 a.m.
Yeah.
There's always a neighbor that's.
Oh, somebody, yeah.
But you know who it is and you expect it.
Yeah. The dog never does. He's always surprised.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor, is that correct? Secretary, Jonah?
Well, I wasn't 100% sure if that was his motion.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
yes.
And Dave asked to
At this discussion,
discussion on 11 o'clock for, that would be you said Friday and Saturday both?
I'll second Jonah's motion.
Okay, oh, you're second, Jonas, okay. All righty. All those in favor of that, we have a second by Dave Crowfoot of what Jonah made, motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we have 4 to 1. Is that correct, Dave Mueller?
Yes.
Okay, 4 to 1, okay.
Okay, oh, so the reds are what you changed it to.
No, the blacks. Hold on. Let me see. Make sure.
Because what I wrote down was Sunday, June 27th, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday, June 28th, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Yep.
Tuesday, June 29th, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Wednesday, June 30th, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Thursday, July 1st, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Friday, July 2nd, 8 a.m. to midnight. Saturday, July 3rd, 8 a.m. to midnight. Sunday, July 4th, 9 a.m. to midnight. And Monday, July 5th, I'm not sure of the beginning time, until 10 p.m.
Nah, I didn't change it, so it'd be
8 a.m. 8
Okay.
a.m. to 10 p.m., yeah. Okay, motion passed 4 to 1.
And sale and discharge is the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sometimes easy things are tough.
That's
else
why I
you got,
saved it
Tina?
for last, that's
Take a vote
all.
on every day.
Is that all you have?
That's all.
Okay. Road and Bridge, Bryce Go.
I heard him out there.
Yeah, he's out there.
I didn't see him, but I heard him.
You see me, but you didn't hear me.
I heard you. I didn't see you.
All right, transport fuel bids. Two bidders, Epps Fuel and Co-op. MFA did not submit a bid, and Epps was low, very, very close. So I recommend Epps.
I'll make a motion to go with Bryce's recommendation. Second.
A motion to go with
Bryce's recommendation.
$19,094.75.
Kent seconds.
Kent second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
All right, I was just notified this morning and I am going to double, triple, quadruple check this. I was told by our KDM person for the FEMA reimbursement that, again, I don't know, I don't think it's right, but she said that basically everything on our federal secondary roads, which would be our main gravel roads and everything else, everything from that on up would not be reimbursable. Total news to me. I have absolutely no idea what's going on, but that can make a huge,
Why would they even do that?
don't know. That's what, it's all new.
Makes
I
no
mean,
sense.
That makes no sense. Like I said, I'm gonna double and triple check it.
Okay.
I just got it
I think it'd be
mid-morning.
the other way around.
Yeah.
So it's, your lower class road there, you know, tough, it's dirt,
Well,
put it back.
and I'm like, okay, a federal secondary road, if it has involved in federal funding, then now you're saying, now you're not going to give us federal reimbursement. Like I said, I gotta double, but that makes a huge difference, not only on the 2019, but the stuff we're doing now also. So anyway, like I said, I gotta find out, but that just came in this morning, so.
That may necessitate a call to our representatives.
Or, yeah, like I said, until I find out, but that's just, wow, shocking, so. But anyway, like I said, that would affect the 2019, that we've done all this work on keeping track of all this stuff, and now it would change. So, but anyway, so obviously we're still working on that stuff. I still think that we're probably in worse shape as far as number of locations than what we were in 2019. Just not as much damage. The damage in 2019 was a lot more localized and things like that. So anyway, we're still working on that. And I guess it brings up a question. We're kind of in a quandary, and the fact is that do we continue to haul rock to get these roads passable and stuff like that? Some of them are down to bare dirt to get people passable. Or do we turn around and enjoy the nice weather and get our blade patching and chip sealing done and then go back to this afterwards? I guess our thought was to continue hauling rock to get these roads back in somewhat decent shape. We're not gonna fix them totally, but I guess that was my thought. We're still confident that, I mean, we're looking at maybe 6 to 8 weeks, we think, to get these roads back in decent shape at the rate we're going. We would still be able to get the blade patching, the chip sealing done. The thing is that will probably hurt as much as anything is, I think it's really gonna hurt our rebuild schedule. Not knowing what's gonna happen later on this fall, weather and temperature wise. But I guess that's kind of what we were looking at, is we definitely want to concentrate on the rock and then do the blade patching and chip sealing and then figure out where to go from there. So if you guys have any other thoughts, that's what we're gonna proceed with unless told otherwise.
I'm
So
not hearing dollar amount. What are we spending dollars
for,
if we continue the rock hauling?
well, and that's the thing is, we're all in these spot locations and things like that. I don't know for sure what that will be. My next thing was, I was gonna tell you about our contract hauling. We're gonna spend about $48,000 in contract hauling based on what we have lined up now. Now that is just hauling, that is not the rock. So the other thing that we could look at is we could turn around and hire contract haulers. We're trying to get them on the big longer hauls, like the 360th, going across that way. We did Pawnee from Highway 50 all the way up to 140th. We're in the process of it. So those are gonna be bigger hauls. 400 tons a mile, we're going through the rock, but like I said, we're still trying to be reasonable. Let's put it this way, in the 4 or 5 sections that we've had the blade men look at, we're looking at 3 pages of places that we need rock. So like I said, it could be anywhere from 1 or 2 loads to how many, depending on, I know, for instance, if you go west of Remington on 230th, it wiped out the whole mile. We really need to go in there and redo it, but we're places down to dirt again. So like I said, it's kind of difficult to speculate. I mean, we could kind of give you a rough idea of what we're thinking, but again, it's gonna depend on what each place looks at.
If those roads can't handle rock though in a big rain event, why do we want to put 400 ton of rock down?
No. That is the main roads that needed rock. That's the Pawnee and 360. The most of these repair things will be, the smaller tonnages. Now, here's the other thing to put at it. It didn't matter what was out there. The water going across 230th was 3/4 of a mile wide. So it wouldn't matter what was out there. I will tell you that on Chisholm, north of 90th, we just redid that last year. Water went up and over the road, and I was very impressed. Almost all the rock stayed except for the rock that was on the bottom side going down the hill. We maybe lost, 10 ton of rock, but I mean, it performed well. It's just like everything else. during this flood, we had water coming out of flat wheat fields across the road. It just cut, I mean, it's unbelievable. So, that's about all we can do is go back and try to get those in shape. Like the 230th going across, really it needs to be rebuilt and raised up. Will that solve the problem in the future? No, but it will help us on more intense rains than a normal ½ inch or 1 inch, whatever else. But yeah, it's crazy what the water is.
I haven't got to drive Pawnee. Did you pull any shoulders or do anything?
Yeah,
prep work?
yeah, they're working on that.
Okay.
And a lot of that came to the fact is that we were talking about, we want to do some work on 360th also. But the way things are looking, we've got to get some rock out there because we were just getting to where they were getting really, really bad. So, not saying we haven't lost that rock, but we've got to make sure that we can keep those good and passable, so.
Hopefully that 360th, maybe pulling the shoulders and get it to where we get the water down the ditch instead of coming down the hill.
There are some spots, and I know especially that mile or two east of there, boy, that really got hit hard. There's a pretty good valley down there, so. But again, even the paved roads, we lost some, you know, it was just crazy going, so. But anyway, so I guess, you know, based on what we're talking about, we'll continue along on the rock roads. I think we're very confident to get the blade patch and the chip sealing done, so go from there. So, and like I said, we're based on, sitting at right now, what we have talked to the haulers about would be about $48,000 in hauling costs, so. But
What, on your chip seal, how many miles you got of that?
I think we're set to do 34 this year, I believe. So, and like I said, we want to go in there and blade patch the things we're going to chip seal first. And
Is that
then,
190 is still on that for this year?
I believe so. We're going to do that. So obviously that's you know, we're still dealing with the issue of indigo. What to do with that? I really haven't done any more with that either. Like I said, the last 2 weeks have been nothing but recovery on all this stuff. So, and obviously we're documentation wise, we're reminding you guys, take pictures, take pictures, take pictures. If you have an exact, say I'm 0.25 miles west of this intersection, I mean, that's what they want. So.
Well, I know it's about a month away. You got like harvest routes.
We harvest, right? Yeah, we gotta worry about that too. You know, and a lot of those wouldn't
And
be
those-
rock
some of
roads.
them are just dirt roads.
Yep.
I mean, getting them reshaped.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, that's what we're looking at is our truck's been going out there. They basically call each section man where they're going out today, say, hey, I'm bringing rock to here, 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 so that they are aware of what that is. But in the meantime, yeah, I mean, and you know, wheat harvest could be as soon as, if we keep this kind of weather here, it could move up even faster. So yeah, that's the other things we've got to make sure all those are passable. And so.
I've been on a few of them that were sandbars and valleys.
Yes.
It looked like
And-
it looked like anacondas run across the road.
Yep, in the same mile. You know, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's my truck close to being high centered in a hill and a valley. That's how bad some of
Yeah,
it is.
it's just crazy. You know that. You know, like I said, then where do you justify putting your priorities? You know, it's this rock or the dirt. You know, you've got people going in and out of there, and I would hope that everybody has their crops in the field by now. But I mean, that's something else to look at for people that didn't have the beans and stuff in.
Well, there's not many beans planted.
Not many beans planted. Okay. So, but anyway.
What about the Evergy project going on? Are they using holly? Or are they using?
We told them not to use holly. They're still going across 107. No, wait, take that back.
They're not coming down Jade, I don't think.
Yes. What, I was mistaken. I allowed them to come down Holly and, they could go straight across, 190th down to Holly and come down that way. Still sand loaded on 170th going over to Jade and that way. So, and that was a safety issue, so dusty and stuff like that. They didn't want to have to meet 2 trucks there, so, I didn't have a problem.
So 170th get reshaped.
I talked to them about that, and we're gonna get that done. I talked to their field construction supervisor, and he said, you know, we're gonna be here for years and years and years with this project. He says, we're gonna get you taken care of.
Okay.
So,
Because it was one of the bad ones.
well, it wasn't great to begin with, but it's still better off tearing that road up compared to Indigo and turning on 190th
Right.
in town and stuff, so.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So-
But is a road maintenance agreement on that, are they supposed to take care of it after that?
That's what this whole thing basically said that they supplied a haul route, I approved it, so they're in the process of taking care of maintenance and all that stuff with it. So-
Do you think we need something signed? Because I think that's what Joan is driving at, is that, you know, we could get done with this and they say goodbye.
Well, to say that we need something signed, I mean, to say that it would be after the fact, because they've already been hauling on and stuff like that. I do have emails and stuff
Okay.
that has been documented to that effect, so.
I just wondered, do we need to reshape it for them and then get them to sign it, that it'll be back in that condition?
Well, see, they've already been hauling on it,
Yeah.
you know, so I mean, we did go in and touch it up a little bit, but the east half mile on 170th down to Jade hasn't been good for a long time.
No,
I don't know where that water's coming from, but man, it comes a rolling across there.
A half mile north of 170th on Jade is
Pretty ugly too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then everything south of there is horrible.
Yeah, because it stores water and stuff. Like I said, I just don't understand where all that water comes from. It doesn't look like it should be, but it's definitely filled in ditches and stuff like that.
After dealing with something like this, Bryce, do you think there's a form that we should have so that when you do something that you could
Well-
verify what you're telling us and verify your word by somebody? I
I
mean,
mean, we can definitely make something that would be very specific about who's gonna do what and everything else. And this is the case in point. This is no different than these other contracts we've had. Wind farms the same way. They hire a contractor, said, I want you to take care of everything. Well, they in turn subcontract out, so I want you to take this and this and this. And in the meantime, everybody's kind of looking at each other. And but I do know they specifically talked with some of the subs over there, and they're taking care of that stuff. So ultimately, it's the owner of the development or whoever it is that's ultimately responsible for it. So,
okay.
but other than that, I didn't have anything. Like I said, we're just plugging away trying to get
Did you
that.
transfer the red truck from emergency management over to you?
Okay, now, I guess Randy and I talked about this morning, do we want to get a new tag for it, or do we just want to leave that tag on there? They're all Marion County, so
I
I'm
don't know
okay
what the
with that.
rules are. I mean, whatever the rules say.
Well, I
You
just,
just need to find out. I'll ask the vehicle department.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's just leave it on there as far as I'm concerned. but-
As I said, so.
One thing that I would like to mention is the title for that vehicle seems to be nowhere. So we're gonna have to get a file for a lost title. Because we keep the majority of the titles for vehicles in our office. With the exception, right now, Road and Bridge keeps their own, Sheriff keeps their own. And I believe we have all the rest.
Why?
So
Why
then,
is that?
when that was,
Aren't they all filed in the clerk's office?
well, that's a good question. It probably, maybe, I
At
don't
least
know if that's
copies.
something that should be, no. These are not copies.
No,
These are
I
the
mean,
originals.
at least copies.
Oh, I see.
In the clerk's office.
It's been that way ever since, I don't for how long, but it's just,
It wouldn't be a bad idea to have them all in one location.
I make that motion right
Now, I don't know.
now. Okay.
Do we have a copy of it even?
No.
Copies
So we have to do a
don't do
complaint.
any good.
Well, at least a copy would,
We
you'd
just
have a
have
VIN, you'd have
To
to
the
prove.
list title.
Have the information.
Well, I don't know what we need to do with
Yeah,
it. I'm
that's
just
what
letting
we
you
were
know we
talking.
don't know where the title is
Yeah.
because they can't find it in any of the emergency management files and we do not have it in our area, the clerks.
Well,
Why don't we give
Even if-
Tina a week and she can come back
Yeah.
next week and report?
Sure.
Even if you file a lost title, it's still nice to have the title number.
Dave,
I mean, we have
Dave, what you said
registrations and
again?
such.
Dave,
Give Tina a week to research it, and bring
Okay.
back a report next week.
okay. Kenny, you got a week.
Okay.
nothing else to do in that week, you know.
No, nothing. Just everything that's next week and the following week, the following week.
And the following, yeah.
It does seem sort of funny that we don't keep all vehicles in one department, in one place, titles, in the county.
Is there any reason that they can't make a motion to say that
No,
they'll
there
all be
isn't.
filed in
No,
the
you can do
county
that.
clerk's office?
I mean, I don't care if they have copies somewhere, one or the other, but the clerk's got the safe, that'd probably be the place to put the titles. I make a motion there.
Get the new tags
Next week?
every year.
See what she
Get the new
says.
tags every year.
See what's happening here.
No, we don't.
Bring that back to us next week.
Okay, will do.
All righty, is that it?
That's it for me. So.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Bryce, thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah. All right.
Good afternoon, sir.
Well, good afternoon.
You get a special chair
Oh, right
down
there.
there
Okay.
so that
There we go. Microphone. Got
So
it.
the microphone's there.
Very good, very good.
I see you went over you got the budget here for us for the Harvey-Marion County CDDO.
Yeah.
So tell us about everything here.
Let's-
Plus, what else you have? I see you've got some more stuff on for us.
Yeah. So I'll start out with,
Okay?
it's great to be here with you all today. My name's Kevin Gatter. I'm the Executive Director of the Harvey-Marion County Community Developmental Disability Organization. It's a mouthful. It's also known as the CDDO, which makes it a lot simpler. Our office serves as the entry point for individuals seeking services for persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities. These services include case management, respite care, personal attendant care, and day and residential supports. And as a CDDO, one of our main functions is that we affiliate with various service providers, and then we provide impartial options counseling for those services. It was one of the main reasons the CDDOs were set up way back when. We also provide quality assurance oversight for a 10% sample of those persons served each year. And then we maintain contact with everyone on the waiting list. The state of Kansas has a 10-year waiting list for our services, which is kind of one of those big issues that they're currently working on, supposedly. Anyway, so we had one wait list offer that's kind of, obviously COVID had something to do with that this past week. So I guess it's good that we received at least one, so that one person is now off the wait list. And then we had 4 requests for crisis exceptions funding, which is what we processed through our office, and then we passed that on up to the state. And those were successful. Those are not easy to get to bypass that wait list. So we're kind of excited about that. Currently we have 319 individuals in our service area in both Harvey and Marion County. That's 19% of that is Marion County residents. We have, now the rest of these numbers are not broken down by county, and maybe something I do next year. But at any rate, we have 252 in target case management. And that's one of our main services that once you get into our service system and you're determined eligible, if you have Medicaid, then you can get case management. It's an extremely valuable service that is provided. Anyway, then we have 60 individuals in personal care services, 140 in day services, 111 in residential supports, and 122 total in our service area waiting for services. And we added 20 new individuals this year to the wait list. Our revenue streams have remained unchanged over the past 2 years. In our Marion County tax dollars at work, we had 20 new applicants this past year, 5 of whom were Marion County residents. We had 16 quality assurance visits. One of those was in Marion County. We have county mill funding assisting with transportation costs. There's one that meets the day service bus to provider in Newton. We assist one individual with self-directed services, which is a wonderful program that once you're and that person is on the wait list. So that's one of those things that our local finance committee reviews each year, and we have our budget for that. And then if they meet the criteria, then we can assist them while they're waiting. And that's where a lot of those county mill dollars go. If we can get, and that's one of those programs actually that I do try to kind of highlight, because Marion County doesn't have any providers, service providers, because it's just simply too difficult. It's hard to keep them in Harvey County. So this allows the family to become the provider. So it makes it a good system to try, but the key is finding the staff for that kind of thing, and that's all difficult right now in this day and age. Anyway, we also assist with one individual who cannot receive target case management because they're not eligible for Medicaid. Assisting with service-related transportation costs for 8 persons. 4 of those self-direct their supports. And then one of the main things, obviously, that we do is project search. And that is I guess if there was a provider, that's the one thing that we assist with at the CDDO. We assisted with 2 interns in their tuition last year, and assist with 1 for this next year. And then at our last recent board meeting, we had also committed for this fiscal year, for 21 still, some long-term program support for the project search. And did you want me to discuss for those that are about the project search, or is everybody aware of what that is?
Could you explain?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, project search, I'm just gonna read,
Good,
sorry.
that's fine.
Okay, project search is an innovative and successful model of teaching young people with disabilities skills to be effective employees by providing hands-on training in a real-work setting. And Tabor College agreed to be that setting, I think that was 4 years ago. I believe it's been 4 years, yep. Accepting both special ed students and young adults up to age, used to say 30, but we just recently had one that was 40, which I think is pretty cool. A lot of those search programs only do high school age. They just have graduated. So this is sort of a hybrid model, accepting both. The results of this program proved each year to be successful. And at the time, the startup grant funds, they have now been phased out, and long-term funding partnerships are necessary to sustain this program. The CDDO governing board has voted to consistently provide a reinvestment of funds at a level to be determined annually back into Marion County through that program. And so yeah, and I guess I'm just here as CDDO to, we appreciate the Marion County Commissioner's support of our organization and mission through the appointments to our governing board, passage of county resolutions as needed, and reliable and timely quarterly funds since its inception in 2007. Our funding request remains the same as last year, so fiscal year 2022, we'll be requesting $65,000, and we respectfully request your ongoing investment into the Hardy Marion CDBO for local access to services and local accountability for outcomes.
How many do you have on your admin staff?
What? I'm sorry.
How many do you have on your admin staff?
We have 3.5 in our office. We actually, and I, just an aside, our past director who started the program is now back with our office. So we have a really amazing group of people that have, all of them have basically been in this business since it started in 2007. When Randy was on the board.
We brought them over from their previous jobs.
Yeah, yeah, they
Northview, I think is where they
were
started
still
that.
trying to,
Yeah.
it's kind of a dicey situation back then from all the stories that I've heard. So anyway, yeah.
Do you keep a dollar figure of your investment in annually into project search?
Yeah, well, let's see, well, that's based usually on just the tuitions. That's kind of where that was initially started. We would automatically, I think Elizabeth had committed that much. And the board, I should say.
So you pay the tuition?
The tuition
for
fee.
Each student?
Yeah, unless they're not, if they're part of the special ed program, the state pays for that. But if they're not, if they've already graduated or they're one of the hybrid models, they're not part of the homeschool or whatever, then we pay that tuition. And then I think at her last meeting here, Elizabeth, the executive director, had discussed with the commission so that any sort of dollars that we could commit at the end of the year that weren't being used as part of our local finance would just go back to the project search. And that's what we recently did this year. So to answer your question, I don't know if I did, but it's just sort of determined with whatever's left after all of the other, what is called discretionary funding. I'm sorry, that's sort of.
And we just had the greatest thing that I've seen Tabor College did over there is put the program on for, this year they had 3 or 4 students.
Mm-hmm.
And that director over there, that's the teacher over there, he's just a super guy, I think.
Robert Howard.
Yeah.
I believe they only had 2 this year.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert, and then Kara Spittles now. She's the well, I guess would be considered the director of the program because but yeah, he runs it. Robert does, and it's an extremely awesome program.
Yeah,
we're just glad that we can.
Is that the numbers that they can handle in that program? I think maybe the most they've ever had is 4.
Yeah, yeah.
Now that it was 2 this year, I'm just wondering, is the criteria that difficult to get someone to qualify for that?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, so they do look, you know, they have all the director, the special ed in all of the Marion County schools that are kind of looking out several years for possibilities, you know, so I think the numbers will probably be about the same for the next several, 2-3 years. Part of it is convincing, I mean, you have to have the skills necessary to maintain community employment, which is a huge piece that this state is already working on. We're an employment first state with persons with IED. So you have to have those skills, you have to develop those skills, but that's one of the things that they do there. And so I think it's finding the right candidates. So yeah, it is a bit more difficult to, I mean, it's just kind of.
It's a great program.
Yeah.
I just was curious why, you know.
You know, and even like in Newton, the Newton Search program is at the hospital. You know, they have the same program, so it's not a hybrid, it's a lot. Theirs is about 7 to 8, you know, and that to me is the size of, I mean, it just kind of is comparable to that. So I think Robert could definitely do 5, but that would be,
I think pushing it.
that would be, anyway.
I also see there, my term's up here this month.
Is it?
First term.
I hope not.
The first term, you just
Oh.
get reappointed.
Oh.
Well, you have 3 before you have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't scare me.
I didn't realize I was up this.
I gotta ask you, is what it means.
I know.
No, we'll talk about that at the meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any other questions? Anybody has? I've been involved with it for a long time, and I live now right across the hall from this guy now. His office is right across the hall.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
just down a little ways, a couple
Yeah.
doors down, so get to see that, both of them over here, but, no, it's a good deal. We started because we thought there was a need in our county, and Martha was failing a little bit, so it's been good.
Yep.
I don't have no more questions. Anybody? Nope.
Okay.
I do
Thank
have a
you.
question.
Yeah.
So will you be sending us a list of reappointments that are needed soon?
Did I not do that? I thought I sent all those.
Okay, right, so I think what Randy was asking, do we need to, does the board need to take action to reappoint?
Yeah.
Because it says his term is through June 30 of this year, and then there's another one.
Jared, when's Jared's? Jared's.
Oh, his is next year.
22, isn't it? Yeah.
But there's another one that was on this list here. Oops.
Can I leave it?
So I just wanted to make sure that the commission takes any action
Sure.
that is necessary.
Absolutely. Cause I have that list, I can get to you yet. Is that the detailed list did I send both?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
You also have Jennifer Dees or Dees.
Dees,
It
yeah.
says through June 30th of 21. So it looks like those two are coming up. So if you need the board to take,
Where's Jennifer from?
Yeah, she's Harvey County.
Harvey County.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's Harvey County.
I think you would be the only,
Yeah.
okay,
no, that's a great point. Sorry about that.
that's okay. I just want to make sure that.
Cover
get
all
you
the
what
bases
you
while you're
need.
here.
That's right. So, yeah, and we will address that then at the meeting, and if we need to, yeah,
Thank all.
When's your meeting?
21st.
Okay.
First?
Yeah.
Be appointed or fired.
Yeah.
There you go. I'll put it up on our agenda to do that here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you all.
Okay.
We'll
Appreciate it.
take this in on our meeting stuff and see what we can do. Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Take care.
Meeting's 21st evening.
Yeah, 3:30, or 4 o'clock.
So put it on 22nd.
Yeah, or you can do it next week.
No.
We could do it on the 30th.
Oh, yeah, do it on 30, do it. Any of that work? I'll attend the 21st. Expect to return.
Okay.
Done with that, how about Prairie View next? Yes, come right ahead.
I would-
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, let's pull it up. There's
Right
a-
here, hot
Yeah,
spot.
that's the hot seat.
You doing the talking?
Oh,
Whoever's doing the
yes,
talking.
most of it. Thank you for having us here today. I think I know Cynthia pretty well, but some of you I haven't met
She's
really
like
that
a
often.
chicken.
I know Randy really well too. So it's really good to be here. And I'm here to introduce our new CEO president of Prairie View. I had it set up, I called about just introducing her to you guys, but Prairie View was already scheduled for today, so we're kind of doing two things at once. So this is Marcy Johnson, our new president CEO, and our CFO, Matt Fuqua, who is also here today, hasn't been here and to have the pleasure of meeting with you before, so.
Cool.
Yeah. So, you
First
want me
of
to
all-
introduce you guys, or you want to introduce yourselves?
Well, first of all, there's a word from me to this lady right here. Thank you for the service that you give to this for a lot of years. I don't know how many years you've done it, but you've been on
Well,
quite a few.
it depends on which role you're speaking
That's
of.
true.
Because
That's
in
true.
the 1970s, I started with Prairie View as a volunteer.
Wow, see,
So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in the
Okay.
late 70s, so that's how long it's been.
Well, you've been around a long time with this, I know.
Well, we've been kind of
Yep,
around
yep.
a long time too.
But thank you
so
for your service.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Randy,
that.
I appreciate you.
And I'll just go ahead and start it off. I'm chairman this year to get these guys elected chairman every year. They won't elect me twice a year, so this is my only time I'm gonna serve. Then one of these other guys get to do this.
There was no rule set that we couldn't
Well,
re-elect.
No, that's one time, but that's mine. I'm from Peabody, and we now have 5 districts, and that's what you're seeing, 5 different districts in Marion County. We used to have 3 for quite a few years, but now we have 5, and so this is a commissioner from each one. I'll let them introduce themselves there. Next one, Jonah.
I'm Jonah Gehring, District 5, which is down in Gossel area and the west side of Hillsborough. I've got the smallest district, but as far as land mass, same amount of population.
Ken Becker, District 1, which is the west side of the county, which includes Durham, Lehigh, and a portion of Hillsborough.
Dave Crowfoot, Marion, South Half, and down toward Florence in that direction. And I'm your county representative on Prairie View, wherever that board is.
The advisory?
Advisory board,
Okay.
yes.
There you go.
We've only met once or twice in the last 2 years,
Yes. I think we have a meeting coming up in September sometime,
sometime.
so. Sometime, I don't have to take it.
And I'm Dave Mueller, I'm from Tampa, District 2 Commissioner, so I've got the whole north side and the east side, most of the rural, and then north half of the city of Marion. So pleasure to meet you. You as well.
You guys want to go ahead and?
Just-
Go ahead.
You want us
Go
just to
ahead.
start talking to you?
Yep.
All right.
Go ahead.
Well, first, I just want to thank you for making time for us to come in today and tell a little bit about ourselves and what we're asking for. First, I just want to extend a sincere thank you. My understanding is that last year, the county gave an increase in funding to Prairie View, so we're extremely grateful for that. It helps us to do more things for the folks in the county. So, as we all know, the last year's been a little challenging. There's been some changes that have gone on. Pandemic affected us in several different ways, but Prairie View was able to quickly respond to that and still be able to see families and individuals that were in need of services. And so I think in the last year, we were able to provide 489 outpatient services. We did 21 evaluations for hospitalization. Of the 489 services that we provided in outpatient, about 67% of those were uninsured or underinsured individuals. So here in Marion County area, Prairie View employs 17 staff with the annual payroll of around $500,000. And so as we look at the state average per capita, Marion County is very, very close. It comes in at $7.68 per capita. The state average is $7.80. So when we came to our request for funding, we just used that average state of $7.80. So we're asking for the $94,403 for this coming year in terms of county funding. If you have any questions, I can try to ask them, but I'm gonna probably defer to the numbers guy, given this is week 4 for me.
Would you say that number was?
That we're asking for?
It's on there.
Oh.
It's 94,403.
What was our contribution last year?
Very close to that, 94,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we appreciated that so very much. And especially this past year was so tenuous with COVID and Prairie View was able to maintain a lot of their services by telemedicine and but there were others like community case management, people that actually go into the homes or meet in restaurants or those kind of things with clients. Those could not happen. And so funding was tight, even tighter than usual.
And the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation rankings got quite a huge difference between Marion and McPherson County.
Mm-hmm.
Cost per capita is roughly the same. How many years do you predict before our health ranking will look like theirs for the same amount of money spent as?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not an expert on the Wood Johnson
I know we
Foundation.
don't start.
The
So it
health
can't happen overnight
rankings
or over a year.
is data, remember, it's data that's turned in. I've always been a little cautious about data at times because of the variables in how it's submitted and in other unavoidable differences. So take it with a tiny little, you know.
Oh, we
grain of
only increased the
salt.
funding to get
You
close
know.
to them last year, so
Yeah,
I'm not expecting
yeah.
miracles.
Well,
Just-
the one thing I will say about that county health rankings takes into account more than just behavioral health, which
Right.
is what Prairie View's focused on, so that's.
Good point.
Okay, so it factors in physical health.
Medical, yeah.
Physical health, yeah.
Oh, it
medical
factors in
services.
well-being of the community health, it figures in lots of things.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
health department would probably be the one to more,
So better,
Behavioral health is an important piece of that, but there's more that impacts that.
but they probably don't have a ranking for behavioral health.
there's a section, I'm sure, we probably should look at that.
Gotta be more accurate as well.
Yeah. But I was a part of that when those meetings first started at the St. Luke Clinic and led by the health department. And I think Marion County just focused on at that point, they weren't really looking that carefully at mental health and they needed to be. So let's put it that way.
Well, I agree. I agree. Mental health is a big need, but I just, when you're using taxpayer dollars, it's nice to see that if you're spending the same as others, you're getting the same results, stuff like that. So.
It's gonna start looking better.
Any other questions for the commissioners?
When it comes to mental health services, is there a specific area in Marion County that you see more clients from? I mean,
You mean geographically?
not geographically, but I mean, what their need is, whether it's a dependency thing or family thing. What's the biggest number in Marion come from in those categories?
I don't think that's something that we drilled down to. I think we could look at like service type. What are the most services being offered in Marion County? Is it case management? Is it individual therapy? Is it family therapy? We could look at the service that we're providing and get those kinds of details.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I can say about that is that we do a lot of case management. We need to do more, and a lot of the case management is focused at kids. And so one of the things that has been nice this last year is I think it's the Hillsborough School District kind of started working with us this last year. So we actually got into Hillsborough schools with a case manager and even with some clinical time for the therapist too. And we hope that grows in the coming years, other places in the county, because it was, I think it went well, but obviously it didn't expand quite as fast as we were hoping because of how COVID impacted, the whole school system this year too. But that's an area where we know that there's some untapped need, or there's some need there that we haven't fully been able to get into with because of the.
And it's hard to reach the north part of the county because of transportation issues. And so that's probably, if you do wanna kind of point out some geographical needs, the north part of the county always is harder to reach because of transportation. Because the north part of the county is vast and has fewer resources and is actually classified as frontier when the rest of the county is rural. And that's true. So,
Do you work court referrals?
yes. Probably need more of those, yeah.
But that's been a thing with Marion County, with everything trying, being down south or even down here, is trying to get people from the north end to meet transportation.
Mhm.
That's been just a standard thing.
It is, it's.
Get people transported down to this.
Yeah, that's right.
So then do you contract with the district court? Or they just
Oh,
refer you?
I think Prairie View has contracted with the district court, yeah.
You know, I wonder about those kind of things because we hear about these cases and
I
we
know.
haul them out to Larner. The next day they say, well, they're all right, go back and get them.
I know.
And we got deputies on the road all the time heading somewhere, and it's usually a mental evaluation of some type,
I actually
which
brought
really ties up our resources.
Well, I actually brought the article for Marcy to read today. So we're gonna look at those kinds of things.
And I'm new to this, but the evaluations from the sheriff's office when they send clients to be evaluated for state hospital, it seems like that's one of his biggest struggles. And where the breakdown is, whether it's at the state hospital level, but it's becoming a real problem for our sheriff's department, for our community.
It is, and that's why, that's interesting, it's coincidence, because that's exactly what I brought to visit with Marcy about today, because I knew that was a real issue, and something we could really look at, yeah.
Good. Appreciate it.
There you go, get your son there.
Any suggestions?
Thanks a lot, Kent. Kent was actually one of our founding board members for the nonprofit that I ran in Marion County, so.
4 years ago.
Oh, more than 4?
Oh.
No.
About 24.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
Sorry, slow down,
For my time flies, you know, yeah. So.
He's such a stiff guy that you never can't tell when he's joking.
Oh, that's true.
But if you could give us any assistance or advice or insight into what that issue is or how.
Are you guys
the
open to
county-
having a little meeting on that, just to
I think
really
so,
focus on
because
that sometime?
It is a big concern of our sheriff.
Yeah, maybe we could have a little with the sheriff's
try to-
office.
I think he would be very happy to.
Yeah.
We're into an area though where the district courts constrain this and
Oh,
take all of
okay.
us out of it. Larned and Osawatomie are the only two facilities
Right.
that are state funded, and the
Right.
legislature, in their wisdom, has not funded any of the others, and so there was that mass
Right.
exodus. Much as all of us would like, in terms of judges, would like to be able to use the local facility, because many of these patients are already with Prairie View, in both here in Harvey County, for example. When they get into the district court system, the only two facilities that the district court can utilize are those two, which mandates putting these officers on the road to take them there and bring them back. And it's usually 2 to 3 days, and they're right back at the local facility getting all of the outpatient care and even some inpatient with Prairie View, but they have to go through that process in order to qualify them.
Well, I guess my question is, can we, as individuals or commission, make recommendations to our legislators or
Mhm.
find out what the issue is?
Yeah, the issue there
specifically?
becomes if you've got the local private mental health facilities, how much you can mandate that they do. It becomes individual contracts, and for whatever reason, because I've listened in on those committee hearings repeatedly, they don't want to get into, we don't want 50 contracts across the state with different mental health providers. CFK, anyway, there's several of them in the area. All of them have expressed an interest. Competency evaluations, a lot of that kind of thing can be done locally, but the funding sources then have to be individually negotiated, and the district court has this blanket arrangement with, okay, the state funds these two, therefore that's where everything goes initially. And then they serve as the gatekeeper and then try to return them back for private care. But
Doesn't Prairie View now have the ability to take the overflow?
Yes,
Right.
we've had the diversion and now it's changing to what SIA,
State institutional alternative.
yeah,
Right.
so
Yeah.
we're a backup plan, but we have to have them funneled through the two
yeah,
states.
that's what I was thinking.
It doesn't really change.
The overall
technicalities.
structure, yeah, is the same, because we've inquired repeatedly, because we've got good facilities here locally in this area, the state some don't. But we do, and would like to be able to just send them there, but made no headway in the last, at least decade that I can think of.
Really being efficient.
Yeah,
I mean, you talk about taxpayers' dollars.
yeah.
You know what it really points to, though, is the need for prevention and taking care of the problem before it gets so bad
Right.
that there are people who are very, very ill. And so that's why we need your support so badly, is because that prevention could
Avoids the care and treatment
avoid
petition.
all of that. And that really starts in early childhood, to tell you the truth.
Sure.
I mean, we gotta start at the beginning. And Prairie View does provide early childhood mental health services too.
What's your, I'm gonna change the subject up a little bit. What's your background in this field? Where have you been before you come to?
Where have I been? I don't know where I've been. No, I've been in behavioral health for over 18 years. 13 of those years were in CMHCs throughout the state of Kansas. I worked at Johnson County, I worked at the Guidance Center, I worked at Spring River, and I worked at ComCare. Most recently, I've been in substance use disorder treatment for the last 5 years. Most recently as the Vice President of Clinical Services for MIR in Newton. So, a little familiar with the area, but definitely have a lot of expertise in CMHCs. I worked every position from attendant care to clinical supervisor, so.
We're just really thrilled to have you.
Good.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, thank you for coming, everybody, today. I appreciate it. Unless you guys have some final statements and any final questions from anybody, either way, from you guys to us or from us to you.
Well, hopefully we'll get some kind of a meeting set up at some point.
Yeah, we need to learn more about.
I think it's kind of important, it's kind of an important deal.
It is, and has
Especially
been
what
for a
we see in
while.
our sheriff's department.
Yeah, and thank you.
Sure.
Thank you all.
Thank
We'll
you.
Put it on our budget and see what we come out with.
Thank you.
Buzzing right along today.
Just on time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Princess.
Well,
Conservation District.
They're out
There.
quit reading the paper, Greg.
Conservation District, come right ahead. Uh-oh.
Hi,
We got the main entertainer here.
I have an extra copy of just whatever it's gonna.
Main
speaker. We have Bruce Schrader, one of our board members. He's actually not just a board member, he is our treasurer. Greg Bowers, the chairman, Matt Meyerhoff is our
Your meeting, you guys
NRCS
sit up front.
person, and
Someone needs to
Lisa.
take the mic.
Hot seat. Anyone that's speaking.
Lori can speak there. You sit there, I'll sit there.
You spoke last year.
I know, that's what I mean.
And Matt Meyerhoff and Lisa Suderman are NRCS and RAPS personnel. So I don't have a spiel all lined up. I'm sorry. I don't do that. I just kind of fly. So you've got copies of what we're proposing. We're staying with a steady budget this year. We're not requesting any kind of an increase, and as you can see by the little flyer, that we're putting a lot of money on the ground in conservation, a lot. Out of your budget, what we're getting from you folks, that pretty much pays wages and operation and that kind of thing. All the other little numbers on the sheet are for conservation dollars that we have actually put out there, either through state cost share funds, through NRCS funds, and the acres that we've covered, and then down, we also have the acres that, I thought I had the acres on here, that Lisa covers in her wraps. Apparently I did not put that on there. I thought I did, I apologize for that. The wraps program is providing lots of funds also, hundreds of thousands of dollars in funds.
I'm getting ready right now, just right now, I'm working on the invoices. We'll pay out $50,000 to local producers just this month in June. That will go through the board meeting, so put a lot of money out there.
And then I also gave you a copy, in case you were kind of curious, what are some of the things that we're sending out to inform the public. I have attached a copy of the newsletter that we sent out.
I'm gonna jump back here since we've opened up the RAPS question. Is that Marion County's RAPS, or is that, don't you have districts that goes through the next river down and the Osho and?
This is for the Cottonwood wraps, and
Cottonwood,
this is for
yeah,
the
yeah.
Marion Reservoir wraps.
Okay.
We have got, our priority area is predominantly 99% Marion County for those two wraps programs. We go a little bit into Harvey County, a tiny bit into McPherson County, but the rest of it is all Marion County. Then farther down towards John Redmond, we have got the John Redmond wraps program down towards that way. Active wraps programs include Tuttle Creek, and also Milford. And the active wraps, there's 7 active wraps that have a coordinator like I am with them. The rest of them have gone and are being managed completely through the Kansas Association of Conservation District. So Lori, people like Lori in other counties would run the wraps program.
Okay, because it's been 4 or 5 years ago, or 3 to 4 years ago, when we was talking about some of the work needing to be done up in our Marion Cottonwood River Basin up here, clear to start, and it seemed like they was only worried about some of the ones from Neosho on down. I don't know whether it was just a general feeling that I had at that time, or just
Stream bank.
Oh, well, yeah, wraps is not allowed to do stream bank.
Stream banks are heavily focused above John Redmond.
Yes.
Because that puts the priority of that erosion infilling John Redmond right there at John Redmond.
Right.
There's a multi-stage process of moving up the river, which would eventually put them up the Cottonwood into Marion County.
Okay.
But if you look at the river between John Redmond and Marion County, that will take a while.
I think you're right. That's what I was a little disappointed in why we wasn't being thought of more up here. But I think that's what stream bank.
Well, and quite honestly, it was really surprising that when they look at the siltation that's going on in the federal lakes, Marion County, the reservoir really isn't that bad compared to the level of silt that is going into John Redmond. We're actually sitting really good up here.
Okay.
So I was very surprised when I saw that come out at one of the meetings I was at. So
I don't get out on the water and do any fishing or anything, so I can't tell you, but I just hear some fishermen say, oh, it's silted in, you know, that's all we hear the fishermen say.
But not at the rate of some of the other ones,
Cool.
yeah.
Cool, okay. All righty, well, that answers my question.
Most of the time they're talking about the coves.
Yeah.
You get out in the middle, the river channel's still there. You can find it with a depth finder.
Good. Okay, any questions from commission? Any questions from you guys?
Lisa, you was talking about stream bank stabilization. Do we still have quite a few of those projects going on, or?
We can't do stream bank stabilization. The majority of the work that we do, now we do have a priority area, which is the National Water Quality Incentive Program, which gives extra dollars to producers that are in the Mud Creek area.
But not
stream bank. But what we're doing is we're trying to, we're trying to do conservation practices along that area to get that creek delisted with KDAG, which was, and it was listed for livestock.
Bacteria, phosphorus, and that one didn't have dissolved oxygen. It was just
Right, no
bacteria and
deal on that
phosphorus.
one. That's French Creek that has that. So what we've been doing is moving livestock up and out of the creek area,
Right.
and then replanting the areas along the stream bank, so hopefully that'll hold it together a
So is
little
that
bit
still
better.
part of the buffer CRP program then?
No, those are separate programs.
Separate program.
Those are two separate programs. To address the stream bank, Most of the stream bank work within the state of Kansas is being done by the Kansas Water Office. They're the ones that are looking at water quantity for municipal, industrial supply, things like that for eastern Kansas. Have a lot of interest in that. Beyond that, there aren't many groups who are targeting stream banks as a priority. We did have a program through the Forestry RCPP. I believe several of you are aware of that, where we did some tree plantings, some thinnings, improving the riparian areas. We could only look at small streams on that. When I say small, I'm talking 1,000 acres or less of drainage, very, very small areas. The NRCS within Kansas feels that with the type of streams that we have here, the class of streams, which is an erosional, a stream morphology model, we're not at a place where we're gonna have long-term success with stabilization. So the only time we touch them is gonna be similar to 190th out there on the county road, where we will put something in to protect critical infrastructure, but the dollars and the maintenance necessary to protect farmland or riparian area, we can't justify those dollars at this time.
But speaking to the Kansas Water Office, I was appointed to the Neosho Regional Advisory Council, which works through the Kansas Water Office. That is one of the priorities that we have, is stream bank stabilization. I would be more than happy to let you guys know when our next RAC meeting is. And if one of you would like to come and express your concern about the stream banks up in our area, they would love to hear from you. We go to the legislature in Kansas every January and express our concerns, and we work on what we're wanting to do. And stream bank is in part of our plan to help the Neosho area. So I will forward that information about our next meeting to you guys, and feel free if you guys would like to go. They're fun-filled events, I have to tell you.
So there's no money allocated for that program?
We're trying to get money through the RAC.
For,
you know, at one time we did a whole bunch of them.
For stream, on the stream
I've got
banks?
one, yeah.
Yep, they did.
I've got a stream bank stabilization.
Yeah.
Done back in Peggy's day.
Yeah.
They did quite a few, and the long-term rate of success is what has caused them to back off on that. There is a group working on it was the Upper Lower Smoky RAP, which would be above Abilene, below Canopolis. That RAPS was working on stream banks, and they technically are not an individually funded RAPS with a coordinator anymore. They're lumped into a larger group. They are continuing to work with a couple of the conservation districts, not this one, but a couple of those that are on that, and I believe the city of Salina, to look at some low-cost tree revetments, things like that for stabilization.
But so far, the last tree revetment that they put in there, it
it's
disappeared within a year and a half. So, and they did, I mean, they dug down in the bank and they shoved those trees all the way back into the bank, and they put over on top of it, and they planted around it. And aside from a beaver issue, that was one of them for sure. They had the beaver that came and took out all the small trees that they planted. The second problem they had is they had a flood that came through and literally devastated, took out of the 7 trees that they put into the bank to hold it stable, they lost 5. So trying to find funds to put into a program like that, yes, they want to find a better way, they just haven't found it yet.
And we're talking hundreds of dollars per foot to stabilize a stream bank. So that gets cost prohibitive quickly unless you are protecting a house or a road or a power pole or something like that.
I know they did mine twice in 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's held ever since.
That's amazing.
That's good.
It's an ugly sight to see just what coming down Mud Creek for one, coming down the other day with that 5 or 6 inches, and then the South Cottonwood down here, see what it did around what you just mentioned, 190th out here, and see how it's eating that bank up over there. If that's happening all over the state of Kansas, why?
And it is.
It is.
And it is. Why? It's ugly. I mean, to me, to see our creek banks, just the trees that's been there. I don't know. I guess we've been on Earth 60 years, so the big trees have been there even before us, but it probably hasn't been for 50, 60 years old. But they're gone. They just washed them away this time.
Yeah.
So it's not pretty to see that, as far as I'm concerned. I like creek banks too. Anybody else have any questions?
I just want to say thank you for all the work you've done, especially up in our area. Personally, I'm a big supporter of the services that you provide. And I really appreciate the grassroots drive and the work with individuals. Fantastic program for our ranchers and our farmers in Marion County. So thank you to each of you.
Pardon me, one thing I'd like to bring up is that we are in Marion County developing a program, part of the water quality thing. They have to know what's causing the problem before they can address the problem. You just don't jump in the middle of something and not have a plan and so on. One of the issues is phosphorus in the water, everywhere down the line and so on. Nobody really had a program, a device, a plan to monitor that situation. Pardon me. With the help of K-State and many other state resource things. In Marion County, we are now producing, after a number of trial and error situations and revisions and upgrades and so on, a phosphorus monitoring system. We've got 3 or 4 in place now, and County Lake and the Big Lake and different feed-ins, where we can monitor throughout the year after big rains, no rains, so on, and check the flow when it comes, how much comes here. And it's a big deal to have a piece of equipment like that. And with the help of the local guys, Marion the manufacturer and Joe's Grow and the engineering, they have these phos boxes that they can put in those areas to measure that sort of thing with natural materials that we have here in Marion County. And if that's as successful as it looks at this point, other places are going to want that equipment and so on. We're the first to develop it and the first, so we have it here. Kind of a nice flag for Marion County. Pretty big deal.
I just run across the guy out the county lake, he's blaming the county commissioners because we're not doing something about the county lake out there. I mean, as far as the algae and things to get our water better, you know.
Yeah, and you're not that many years ago, soil conservation was teaching people how to conserve soil and rotate crops and cover crops and all that. That has jumped in the last few years tremendously. We've got a few old guys like me that refuse to make any changes, but we won't be here that long, so don't worry about it. And the new guys are jumping on board, and it's really doing well, and it's helping the soil quality in this county like you would not believe. Backing that up, the next thing is water quality. We don't think that much about it around here, but that's a big deal everywhere. And that's going to be coming on board like a freight train. And so we got to be ready. And there's all kinds of ideas, lots of good ones. And to maintain water quality coming through here and maintain the water quality that is here. And there's everybody with both feet in the water on that one. And it's something that's kind of exciting. We get a lot of preliminary information. Some of that information is really encouraging. And that makes our job far less boring and much more important in my thought.
Okay.
So it's good to know that you can start monitoring that, because you wonder, you know, for years and years they've pushed everybody for buffer strips above the reservoir.
Yeah.
And there was some success in that. A lot of them that wouldn't do it.
They were building those.
But I'm just, it'd be interesting to know how much.
It is
interesting to know how much phosphorus is getting in the lake compared to 15, 20 years ago.
From where?
Yeah.
You have 5 or 6 or 7 feet of streams coming,
Right.
where is
Right.
it coming? Big deal.
Okay. Again, thank you, and glad to see you back in this courthouse. You used to sit down a few doors down.
Yeah, just a couple doors down.
Yep.
Sat there for a lot of years.
Yep, so, and both of you two have been with this board quite a while too, so thank you for your service. Thank you. Thank you all, appreciate it.
Thanks for you guys.
Thank you for your time.
Executive session, most likely the commission discussion about personnel hiring and personnel from you. So, would the board think we need to take public comments before we go into these 2 executive sessions, commission comments, and then go, okay? We'll open it up to public comments and see if there's anybody online that has any.
There haven't been none typed into
Okay,
the
not
chat.
type in, okay. No public here in the building. Commission comments. Anybody have any today? Nope. Okay, so we're ready to move on to, we'll put what was on the list first here, commission discussion of personnel and hiring. First, is that?
You had asked that to be added for the commission to discuss, excuse me, the appraiser
Oh, yes,
position.
yes, that's what that's about. So, that was from last week. Would everybody up to speed on what we're talking about here? Would 10 minutes be plenty? Everybody's opinion, okay? I move that we recess into executive session or discuss personnel performance.
Excuse me, I believe it would be personnel hiring.
Personnel hiring. Is that any other numbers down here?
Nope, it's the same number.
Same number 1. Okay, pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, the number 1 personnel matters of non-elected personnel with the board, Tina, Brad, for 10 minutes. Do I hear a second? Second. Second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. We'll come out of that and get into another with Brad then probably.
Okay, so 10 minutes puts us back at 2:17.
Okay.
That's a huge exhale.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we're on.
Out of the executive session, no decisions. Okay, Brad, you put ask for an executive session for personnel performance? Okay. For what kind of time frame?
We've got several related matters on that. 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Yep.
And it's personnel performance, correct? Okay. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-4319B for number 1, personnel matters of non-elected personnel. And would you like Tina in on this?
Not necessarily
Okay.
initially, but at some point she may be invited back in.
Okay. Board and Brad, and for right now, for 30 minutes, and then we'll call her in if we have to.
We'll just announce we'll call her in when we get out.
Yeah, if we announce it. Okay, for 30 minutes, so that would be from 2:20 to 2:50.
Second.
second by Dave Mueller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 5-0.
Okay, back at 2:50.
Huh? He's still sitting like that? Oh.
This conference will now be recorded.
Get the fishing license.
Cool.
Oh, you're gonna get that?
All right. Out of executive sessions, no decisions. We're going to go back in again for another 30 minutes for the same purpose. And I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss personnel pursuant to KSA, personnel matters.
Personnel
Pursuant to
performance, right?
Personnel performance matters.
okay.
Pursuant to KSA 75-4319B for personnel matters. With the board and Brad from 2:53 to 3. 3:23? Yeah, 3:23, yeah, 3:23. Okay, that's my motion.
Second.
Second by Kent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
There's a lot of people that don't really want to find
This conference will now be recorded.
Oh, they don't have to.
Okay, out of executive session, no decisions, and that brings us to, we have nothing left. We've done all of our public comments already, commission comments, so I guess I'd make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Have a second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. Thank you, Brad.
Sorry, never everybody again.
That's it.